Hello everybody, this is Diane. I'm here to show you this completed journal. It was one of the two unfinished journals that I've been holding on to and waiting to get to finish them. These were both for me to keep. So I finished the large one, the domestic arts style one, and I showed that to you in a flip through already, and now I have finished this one. This is a precious book for me. When I was a child, this was my favorite storybook, and you probably have heard me talk about this many times because that's why I love Eloise Wilkin so much, and I love the poems of Robert Louis Stevenson, and so the two of them combined into this book. It was my favorite book when I was a child. Child's Garden of Verses, and it's a golden book, so I converted it into a junk journal for me. I tied it with a pink seam binding, and I just decorated the cover with this little bit of a trim. Isn't it beautiful? And it's from Switzerland. And I have this patchwork piece. It was not quilted. It didn't have batting. It wasn't completed. It was just a piece of patchwork. And I thought it was perfect for the cover of this. And I just did a collage on the back with this paper doll of Heidi. Her cheek is a bit messed up there. So I just put it on my own book rather than putting it in a journal that I would sell. And just a few other collaged elements you can see. And you can see bits of the little golden book peeking through also, which I like. The lace along the edges is just charming and sweet. And let's look inside. I covered the inside with some scrapbook paper. And there's some fabric here. I made a pocket out of acetate, and then this piece that was cut from 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, the beautiful roses. And I put one of my little golden book postcards that came in a book of postcards in the pocket. I always loved fairy tales, and that's just a fairy tale card. It says be romantic, and then this is a Mrs. Coggs library card. I love that element on there. It's got a moon, some pretty vintage seam binding and lace. And I think that the pages that wrap around each signature is this cardstock, scrapbook cardstock. This is from a children's book, a vintage children's book, and I believe it was from French nursery rhymes. Isn't that a cute image? I glued it to some cardstock and then glued it to this as a pocket. And I added this vintage tag that I Mod Podged this pretty napkin to. And there's some lace on the edge. So a lot of this was already done. I just had to finish it. The stenciling was already done with these pretty roses and leaves. I love this vintage lace. I'm glad I'm keeping a bit. I don't have much left. After adding this, I just have a little piece of that left. This is copyrighted 1957, which is the year I was born. So I'm not sure if that's actually, it could be when this was actually printed. It's just in really good condition. It was 29 cents, so that could be the right date. So that makes it more special. Some green ledger paper, and this is a pocket that I made with the Tim Holtz wallpaper remnants pieces of paper. And look at this beautiful embroidered trim. I had to include a piece of that on there. And a digital that I love. I don't know where I got it from. I don't remember. But I love that piece. And then I added this little Eloise Wilkin Mother Goose children's card, and this is 1961. So it was from a little golden book that Eloise Wilkin had illustrated about nursery rhymes. I also have this card that I haven't put in yet, but it's Little Bo Peep. So if I find a place to put that, I will. This is just excuse me, beautiful image. I believe this is one painted by bird, B-U-R-D, and just a beautiful picture of Mistress Mary Quite Contrary, How Does Your Garden Grow? And back here are some pigs. Wonder if these are the 3 little pigs. And this I had already added to the book a year ago, and it's a vellum bag, glassine bag with napkin Mod Podge to it. I just stuck a couple of tags in there. And there's a fabric flip and this journaling spot. Some more stenciling. This was some paper, some scraps of my favorite papers, and I sewed them together, and it became a little flip here and a little pocket there. So I need to add something in there. I guess this is a little too big. There, that works. I might move it, change it out for something else. I'll just leave it out for now. Okay, this is from the Golden Book. This was just a little piece of cream colored paper, and I used this really pretty Tim Holtz stamp on there. Beautiful wrapping paper, vintage wrapping paper. I added a cluster here of paper and a word and some vintage trim. Vintage stationery here. This is one of the folder notes with this really beautiful little girl. Vintage ledger. And this pocket, I'll have to glue that shut and then put something in it. This is made with a children's songbook. This is an illustration from the French nursery rhyme book. I cut her out and glued her to this really old page. It was a flyleaf from an old book, and I did not add any color to that. That's how it looked. And then I just added some vintage trim up there. Here's the other side of that post-it note. This one has this beautiful little vintage gift tag on there. It goes along with the Mistress Mary Quite Contrary. She is watering her flowers too. I just put some pink gingham ribbon there. There's another stamp. Here's a pocket that I made with scraps. Scrapbook paper scraps, and this was some sort of a tissue paper, I think. That's been in my stash for a while. Some more scraps of some of my favorite patterned paper. I saved my favorite bits so I could put them in this journal. Oh, those little pigs where this little pig went to market. Another pocket and another tag with napkin on it. Another glassine bag. I had forgotten. I didn't remember that I had put that little one there because that was over a year ago, or almost a year ago. And I just added this one this time. I think it's even got the same napkin on it. But I put in this tag that I made a while ago, and I love it. And so I'm using it in my book. It's got piano roll paper. This little cutout, I'm not sure where she came from. I don't remember. Second signature has this lovely picture, and the poem that goes with it is tucked in there. I can journal on the back. This was actually a page that I had prepared to go into a journal about music. It has the Mozart stamp up there and some music, but it didn't go into that journal. But this is the paper that matches the paper I'm using, and it was cut the right size, so I just put it in here. It's got some deco foil on it. There's another little pocket. I'll have to put something in there. And another pocket. This tag I've had in my stash for a long time. I still have to add stuff to it, but this is mine. I'm not trying to send it out anywhere, so I can do that when I get to it. This little stamp of a deer. A page from a book about antique furniture. A piece of vintage lace. And I love this wrapping paper, so I had to save a piece of it in one of my journals. Little yarn dolls. Another fabric or paper cluster up there. This is a fabric flip that I made with a sheet sewn to a piece of quilt batting, I think. Just added a bunch of other elements to it. There's Little Bo Peep. CM Bird, that's the name of this artist. I don't know what the CM stands for. I should look it up. And another little glassine bag. Straw paper. Another envelope. Another fabric flip with a cute little ducky. And this is a vintage notebook paper. Here's another little vintage gift tag. I just love them. So precious. And another piece of that embroidered trim. This is a vintage paper. I don't remember where I got it from, but you can see I tore it out from its binding. There's a stamp there and there. Here is a double pocket that I had made. It did have a tag in it. I don't know where the tag is, but I'll tuck this little card in there. Little Bo Peep is looking for her sheep. And isn't that in this signature? Yeah. So I'm matching my cards with my children's book pages in their signatures. Anyway, you saw it. And there's another pocket that I made. You can open that up. There's a pocket here, and then there's a pocket here, and I just added a digital postcard in there for now. And behind here is, this is a copy of this florist advertising card that I had gotten at a flea market. Or it was an antique mall, actually. This I got in an antique store years ago. I think before I started making, it was before I started making junk journals. I may have been making smash books. But my husband and I were on vacation and we went to an antique store and I got this. And I was shocked that it was 75 cents. I thought I would never be able to afford a beautiful antique postcard like that. And I love it so much, I have to keep this one, so it's going in my book. And then this digital tag from I'll try to remember. It's new. Paper ruffle there. This is Beethoven. It's the other side of that page that was supposed to go in a music journal. I made this library pocket with another piece of the Tim Holtz wallflower remnants paper. And then this part of a file folder I stamped and folded it around it to make the pocket part. And this is one of the die cuts that comes with this wallpaper. And here we have a little digital card. I've had it for a long time. I don't remember what shop that digital came from, but it's a library card with her image on it. So beautiful. Here is an illustration from an old children's book. You can see I cut around the shape. It was so cool. I love that drawing. And I glued it to some cardstock. And this is some scrapbook paper with a Kate Greenaway illustration. Here's a little digital cluster. This girl is from Australia. I haven't watched her videos in a while, and I can't remember her name. But I bought her set of clusters. She made the clusters and then turned them into a digital, and I thought they were really cute. So I glued that on as a tuck spot and added this tag made from scrapbook paper, and this is one of the digitals from the one I'm trying to remember. This one is Mary Had a Little Lamb, I believe. I love the little deer. Something needs to go in there. I guess there's something in there that's preventing it from going down far, so I'll put something smaller in there. Another piece of vintage gift wrap with nursery rhymes on it. And another cluster, a stationery piece. A pocket that I have to sew together, or glue together, I mean. Aren't these illustrations just so cute? And here is another illustration from the French fairy tale book. And again, it's glued to that antique flyleaf paper. And I put that beautiful trim on there. I like that the trim sticks out on this side. Just a little piece that I cut out of a book. Another pocket that I made with some of my really lovely vintage lace that I love. And this has been in my stash for a long time. I made this giant tag with a Mrs. Coggs image, and I like it too much to put it in a journal that I sell, so it's going in this one. Another digital tag. This is one of my postcard digitals. It had this writing on it, but I believe that's in my shop and in one of my floral postcard digitals, and then another Victorian house digital card. And another little gift tag. This is just a scrap from something. And on the back I have another library pocket that I made with Tim Holtz worn wallpaper. That's what these wallpaper pieces are called, worn wallpaper. And a digital library card, and then a Mrs. Coggs digital library card with my favorite fiction story, Jane Eyre. So I love this book. I'm glad that I finally completed it. Oh, I didn't know that opened up. I'm going to have to glue that down too. I hope you enjoyed seeing the flip through. So now I can do some tidying up and then get on to working on a design team project for Lorna Taylor of Tailor Made Journals. And I will be talking to you a little bit more about that. Probably, maybe not the next video, but upcoming very, very soon. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do my collage video this week, but I don't know. I don't know what video you're going to see next. But I do appreciate you watching the flip through of this video, and I hope you liked it. And I hope you'll come back to see what the next project will be. Thanks for watching. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.